Sonya and Sasha, for real.
Welcome to BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. This is the Sonya and Sasha for Real show, first show for 2021. Hello, my lovely. How are you going, Sash?
Hello, beautiful. It's good to see you, but not on a Zoom. I
I
wanted
know.
this to be in the studio. I really thought that we were actually going to go into the studio for 2021. So it is very disappointing that I'm just staring at you. And then you're 6.8 kilometers away.
Yeah.
I can't touch you.
I
You're
know,
in the
it's not
lockdown
right.
zone for me. So we're
It's
back.
not right.
We're back in
We're back in
lockdown.
it. We're back in it. How's everyone feeling out there? Because let me tell you, we're not happy. We don't like it at all.
Well, we're still getting over the PTSD from last one. And then we've literally had our kids at school, not even 2 weeks. So not even a full 2 weeks of having our kids at school.
Yeah.
Literally, I was just getting into my own mojo of being at work and doing my own stuff at home and getting my home, like the home office kind of thing happening without kids all around us and school holidays. And it's gone. Like there's almost been no recovery time because I was just getting into the swing of my life.
Yes, which uniform and like getting all the schedules down pat and then actually having some time to do some things for ourselves, which is unheard of. And you know what? My youngest son had been back for 1 week. They started later than everyone, so he's literally been back for a week. It's been a massive week because he's been learning how to catch the bus and, do all of these things that he needs to do now. And we've got into this lovely little routine, and then bang, down the man's, they've wheeled him out of the cupboard, and he's sorry folks, we've got to do a circuit breaker, which please praise the Lord that it's only going to be the 5 days, because I think so many people that we have spoken to and that we're seeing on social media are just, they're feeling the exact same way as we are. I mean, what is this crazy life that we're living at the moment, that we could be just popped back into a complete lockdown, 5-kilometer radius in a matter of hours. It was just, I think the announcement was 1 o'clock on Friday, and by midnight, so it wasn't even half a day for us to get prepped and ready to go back into this lockdown situation. And bless Melbourne, what did we do? All busted out to Coles and got all the toilet paper, then shoved it back into our houses. I mean, what?
I don't understand.
What is wrong with people?
Okay, I don't understand. The last thing that I went without on the last lockdown was food. I ate so much, I put on weight. I don't know anyone that didn't eat constantly. Like there was not a shortage of food.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why we're going out and buying food when the biggest issue is that everybody drank too much and ate too much. So I'm not sure. Like, surely I'm actually trying to survive on what we've got in the house. I haven't been to the supermarket because I can't even be bothered. Bothered doing that. So we are going to try to do things differently this time.
Yes, we are
going to really, really try. And this is really difficult for us to be able to try and do things differently because we've tried so many different versions along the way.
Yes, we have.
So it's not like we've just done one way, and we're, like this is constantly like a an open document, as some would say. It's not, it's
tabs
evolving.
are open.
It's an evolving thing. Like it's not just like we're set in stone and that sort of stuff. So, Sonya, we are going into this with a open mind, although I know that when my son was at school, so our kids have started high school, but I know that he actually said they pulled the whole school. Everyone went into their classes. There was a big announcement on the loudspeaker and everyone had to sit at their desks and listen. And then there were so many kids that as they would like literally the self-esteem and stress was coming through these kids, that my son, he said, everybody just put their heads down on the table and listened, like with just, oh my God. And my son was supposed to go to camp this week, so that's been cancelled, which is really devastating because we started packing, like we got the bag out on Friday and we started putting the stuff in, and then Saturday morning we put the bag back. You know what I mean? So it's really devastating, and it's really, really affecting people because we're still dealing with the trauma, real trauma of what was going on. Like we can have a laugh about it, but I really honestly believe that every single one of us, the little people, like we've seen these little 3-year-olds go up to different places, try hand sanitizer and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
It's been really, really difficult for all of us to manage being at home.
Totally. And you know what? On Friday morning, I was literally at a school camp down in the Mornington Peninsula, outside with a couple of hundred of the most beautiful Year 12 students who were, I walked into this amphitheatre outside and they were playing music and they were all singing together, and there was, there were kids that were dancing, and, we had this amazing seminar, and then a whole lot of them came up afterwards and we were taking photos and hanging out with each other, and I just said to them, I just wish that it stays open for you. That's all I wish for, is that we have just the most amazing year, and that you don't have a year like last year's Year 12s had, because there seemed to be two camps. They either really did, exceptionally well because they buckled down, or they just seriously struggled. And you and I both know we had little moments of, of both of those. And then simply a couple of hours later, we're in this boat of being faced to go into lockdown again. So you and I thought, let's get together for this show and put some guests together who can really help us, because I reckon we do have a hint of, or a big chunk of, a bit of PTSD from last year. And so we thought today, let's talk to some people who know exactly what to do, about how to get us through this, and how to calm that mum in us, especially if we are homeschooling, who goes, to do it again, and I think they might need therapy from last time, and I need therapy from last time, and are we going to struggle?
The kids that are actually going, oh my God, I'm going to be with my parents all the time. I think that our kids have needed a break from us.
Yes, of course.
Just as much.
Course. Yeah, absolutely. Of course they do. So we've got three really brilliant guests today. First up, we have Michelle Kermy, who is a psychologist. She specialises in teenagers, adolescents, families, and she does some brilliant work around, just making us feel better. And she's going to talk to us today about how to take care of ourselves, and then to how to guide our children through this year of potential snap lockdowns. Yeah, I hate saying that, but there's potentially something like that could be going. We're certainly living in it right now.
Our second snap, crackle, pop. That's the only kind of lockdown.
That's all we want. I want to snap off the chocolate off the bar, and then just
exactly right. That's all I want in that one. And then we've got
bend and snap when we're dancing in the club side.
Exactly
bend
right.
And snap.
Bend and snap. Bend and snap. Is it that? And then because we're homeschooling, we thought we'd get some great advice from some teachers. So we've got Michael Gullis, who is a Year 7 coordinator, who's been a teacher for 25 years, and he's going to give us some great advice on how to homeschool our secondary students. But then on the flip side, we've also got our little primary school kids, and so we've got Leonie Tamblin, who is the director of Guiding Transition, and she actually helps people transition from kindergarten to school, and so she's giving us some great strategies around how to homeschool our little kids. So we're pretty much covering all bases: how to take care of ourselves, how to take care of teenagers, and how to take care of our little kids. So
it's a one-stop shop. It's a one-stop shop here at the Sonya and Sasha show. We've got it all covered.
The COVID, take care of yourself. Now, what are you going to do differently?
I'm going to just be a lot kinder to myself and lower my expectations of myself and of my children, because I got caught up last time in, oh my God, they're going to fall behind, and oh my God, they haven't got that assignment done, and they haven't got this done, blah, blah, blah. And we argued a lot, and it was really tense, and it was tense in the house anyway, because there's so much uncertainty. So I'm going to really chill a lot more this time, and please remind me of that when I get caught.
I'm calling you at 11 o'clock. I'm calling you at 11 o'clock in the morning to see how that goes.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. How about yourself?
Okay, I thought I might start the morning before actually things start. I thought I might do a little bit of a fun routine. So I thought maybe we could do a bit of a family meditation, or definitely do some family exercises. And so I'm going to get up bright and early, which normally I am an early person.
You're in the fives, aren't you?
In the fives, but I'm going to stick to it. So I thought maybe I might organise a fun activity prior to school. My kids start at 8:15, so prior to school, I thought we might actually, to get a little bit earlier and get going. I don't know how long that's going to last, but we'll try that.
Well, you've got the commute time that you would be in the car normally, so you can do something in that little bit there, maybe. And it's good to get them. It's actually beneficial to get them moving.
Yes, music on in the house. I know that. Like I asked the kids what they wanted to do, and they said even if we don't, even if the whole family kind of just gets in together and we do a little bit of a mantra, we have these things called family meetings, and where everyone gets together. Makes it sound like we're a perfect family, doesn't it? Like we have a family meeting, we all have a chit chat about it.
Remember Sushi
Not-
Mango when we were talking about the family meeting and how
Yeah.
it's all so serious? Yeah.
We have this, and our kids get to call a family meeting. And so I thought I might actually call a family meeting where we all get together and maybe give each other, like, do a bit of a group hug and go, hey, we're all in it together and we're all going to be really positive. And I'm going to try and not use the F word before 9 a.m. After 9 a.m.
Oh, I'm going to call you at 9 a.m. and see how that one went. You call me at 11. I'm going to call you at 9, babe. That's called checking in on your friends, making sure that we're still socially connected. You know what? And I think we need to laugh. We tried really hard to laugh last time, and I think we just need to just chill and laugh and talk to each other and just let each other know that it's all going to be okay.
The weather is warmer. So I think that's going to be a little bit different. So it means that we're going to maybe want to get out more, and it's not going to be so difficult. Hey, I'm just going and thinking maybe a little bit.
You're being super positive. I love it.
Super positive. But for the rest of us who desperately want to get onto Netflix, we've got some things that we can highly recommend to you. I'm a doco watcher. What are you watching?
Yes, you are. I'm watching pure trash, basically. I'm just watching stuff that requires no decision making on my part at all. Yeah, I'm watching. I watched a thing called Firefly Lane, which is just a fluffy girl sort of series, which I'm really quite liking. It has Katherine Heigl in it. But I did watch, and you put me onto this. I really like this. Was Pretend It's a City. Which is on Netflix, and it's all about Fran Lebowitz, who's a really famous writer over there, and she is the quickest-witted 60
New York. It's all about New York
70-year-old woman who just live life on her terms. And then it's just got all this beautiful scenery of our second home, which we're missing terribly. Shout out to all our New York people who are listening.
And she's being interviewed by Martin Scorsese, which is just fantastic. And they have this amazing relationship, and they just talk so beautifully about New York. And it's a really, really great doco.
And they laugh a lot. They laugh a lot, which is so cool.
And it's so funny.
So what are you watching before we go to the break? Tell me.
Okay, I've started mild. I went with The Shining.
Oh.
Here's Johnny. Right? Never seen that, but my son, first book that he brought home from the school library was Stephen King and Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, which is a horror movie.
Okay.
So I thought, I've never watched that. Anyway, I would not. Well, I'm recommending, but I'm absolutely petrified. So at night time, I'm scared that my kid's going to wake up with a knife.
Excellent
I'm not
work.
a homeschool. So yeah, I'm going with it. So I'm actually trying to bring movies from the past. I'm watching old stuff. Great doco. It's the Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel.
So, I've seen that. That's on my list of things that I should be watching.
It's really, really. It's just came out. Yeah, really, really good. Watch that one, and it's about this girl, a young girl, traveling girl, goes to the Cecil, and it's this weird hotel that has all this weird stuff going on in LA
all the time.
in Skid Row, and she goes missing. It's really interesting. The next thing that I would say, there is a new doco about meditation, because I'm going to try meditation. It's really, really interesting. Basic information. It's by a guy who is a Dalai Lama kind of monk guy, and he's done this thing. Really, really, really interesting. I like that one. My next one is Surviving Death, which you.
Yes, I started watching that. Yeah, that's been really good,
really and that's all around different things that are happening around death. Now I know. Look, I'm starting light. Just let's say we got from The Shining to it's about people dying, about near-death experiences, afterlife. It's all about this.
Yeah, it's actually fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not just all airy-fairy. We're talking about people who are actual, scientists that have had, near-death experiences who didn't think that there was anything in it. And there's actually a particular department in Harvard University, isn't there, that actually is specifically set up to investigate all of these experiences, and there's millions of them around the world. So that's a really good one to get into. You did start light. I've taken care of the light, trashy stuff. You've taken care of the very serious horror stuff.
One last movie that you need to watch. If you're a couple, especially if you're a couple, you need to watch Malcolm and Marie.
Okay.
Malcolm and Marie. It's
I've
brand
heard about
new
this.
on Netflix, and it is just a movie about a couple, and the whole time they are arguing, and it's very, very interesting to see how crazy couples are and how we can screw up relationships even when they're not that bad, right? It's just very, I felt like someone was in my house. That was what it was. It's like literally like a bird's eye view of a couple arguing the entire time. And it is so
Okay.
frustrating. There's no one else. There's just one couple in a house that
All
have
right.
an argument for an hour and a half. So
I
I highly
think
recommend it.
also known as you could put a camera in any house during lockdown and you get the same effect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Malcolm and Marie.
Malcolm and Marie. All right, I'll tell you what, we've got an amazing guest coming up after the break. Michelle Kermey, psychologist. She's going to put her head right and make sure that we survive this silly lockdown that we're in right now. Unnecessary perhaps, but none of us are loving it, that's for sure. Good to see you back, babe. I'm so happy that we're back on our show, and we've got lots more to come, so stay with us. This is the Sonya and Sacha For Real show. BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. See you soon.
Sonya and Sacha, for real.
You're listening to BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. This is the Sonya and Sacha For Real show. We are so happy to be back, aren't we, Sash?
Oh, can you believe it? We're actually back on air. This is so exciting. I love it.
We're back on air, but we're locked down. We're locked down and we're back on air. So, you know what? We've all been struggling. I don't care who you are. These people who say, oh, we loved lockdown. It was so great. I got to spend so much time with myself. Whatever. This is what I think.
Are there people that loved lockdown? I don't.
I think I've met two or three. I think they're the same ones that go, oh, my kids slept 8 hours from birth as soon as they came home. They're the same people that say that, and you go, oh, what's going on? Why are you looking so tired? Because they really only slept 45 minutes like ours did. Now, this is what I wanted to tell you. We've got the most beautiful guest with us today because I think we've all been, in some ways, honestly, struggling. Our whole world has been turned upside down. We've been thrown into this chaos. Some people just don't deal with change very well. And then we've got the added bonus of making sure that our young people, our children, are okay through this COVID time. So we are currently in our lockdown 3.0, thanks Dan the Man. And so we thought, well, let's bring in an expert to help us look after our own mental health and also the mental health of our kids. Okay, so what better person to get in than our spectacular friend, Michelle Kermey from Mind at Ease, psychologist extraordinaire. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thanks for having me, ladies.
Hey, if there's any actual industry that's made more money ever, should it be you guys? Because everyone's in therapy and we can all do online therapy. So are you guys like inundated with people?
Inundated. It has gone crazy. Yes, definitely.
So what's happening?
How is online therapy working?
Yeah. Well, usually it's just like this. So it's usually just a Zoom online sort of forum, or it could be via phone. Some people just prefer, a lot of my teens just prefer, no video and just audio. So whatever works, whatever works for the client. So happy to accommodate that.
What are we struggling with? Like, what are the issues that you've been seeing that have come up and been really prevalent through this time?
Absolutely. So just high anxiety would be debilitatingly high anxiety would be what I've been seeing. And obviously now with the next lockdown, people are really freaked out about it. And I think it's all the unknown, especially when you think about what we've just lived through. So, having gone through it for already, 3-month lockdown, I think Sonya, you and I were chatting a bit briefly yesterday about this post-traumatic stress disorder that comes in, because it's like, oh my God, is this going to happen again? How long is this going to go for? So people are really concerned about the potential of this being, blown out again.
Can you give us some signs about what this anxiety looks like? Like, how does it actually show itself in our body and in our minds? What's the story behind it? Tell us.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good one, Sash, because I think that people that are really in tune with their bodies are, and this is what I teach people to do. Our bodies tell us when we're anxious, but what that looks like for you guys and what that looks like for me, it might be two different things. But generally, people will say that they feel a tightness in their chest, or they'll feel like they want to vomit, or they feel this constant tension in their body. It's that kind of thing. But it's about being aware of that. So sometimes you might have these feelings and not realize actually that's how anxiety is manifesting. And then that's usually in conjunction with or as a result of negative thoughts. So, you know, we hear that lockdown's happening and then we start with the negative thoughts. Oh my God, I can't do this. How am I going to cope? I have to homeschool, or, you know, I can't do this. I'm socially isolated. I'm stuck at home. So it's that forecasting of negative things happening, and just that fear around, you know, it potentially extending and what have you. So it's the negative thoughts, the feelings in your body, and it's usually a vicious cycle that can lead to, like, you know, lack of sleep, depression, and so on and so forth. So yeah.
100%. I think it's about knowing your own body and really listening to that, because
Totally.
one of the things is, so my mum passed away 18 months ago, and straight after, within a week, I got these excruciating body pains, and I literally thought maybe I'd injured myself, but it wasn't. And I think I'd spoken to you actually, like I had a conversation with you, Michelle, and you just said grief shows itself in its muscles and all of that. And then I started pampering myself and giving myself like massage. I went overboard. Like I was doing 2 a week because my body was hurting me so much.
No, it's what you needed. Yeah.
But then, strangely enough, what happened was when we went into lockdown, and when we first went into lockdown, Sonia and I were starting to go for walks. And do you remember, Sonia, I said, oh my God, my shoulders are so sore. I don't know what's going on. My shoulders are so sore. And I recognized that was actually the exact first things, the start of the pain in my body when my mum had first passed away. And so I was then going, it's that same feeling, like that grief, the stress of the body, those kind of things. And then I started doing, like, very early on, I started doing stretching and really looking after my body, and in my shoulders, because that was the first form. And then all of a sudden you'd come out of lockdown, and I've noticed yesterday, like, you know, the minute they had said about the lockdown, I was then going, oh my God,
Starting to feel it again.
So I'm like really moving myself, because I'm noticing. So I don't actually have those physical signs of those things, but clearly my body is taking that stress somewhere, because the first time something happens and stressful, I start to go, oh my God, my shoulders are really hurting me. So
but I love what you were just,
totally.
But I love what you were just saying there, Sash, about noticing. This is something that a lot of people don't do, and something I teach people and encourage people to do, to be open and to be the observer of your experience. So to be able to acknowledge and allow whatever's there, be open to allow and have the space from a compassionate and loving space. So it's great that, you know, that's really great what you were just saying about noticing. So growing that observer part, being connected with what your experience is, and allowing it without any judgment or criticism. Yeah.
Because of course your body almost takes the impact. It's almost like when there's a car accident or anything like that, the body takes the impact. And then, you know, you can actually, if you've seen people before when there's an accident and they get out and they're fine, and then, like, the minute the adrenaline kind of calms down, they'll say, oh, my body's actually feeling a certain way. I literally, like, the first day of announcing the lockdown, I was literally crying the whole day. I was just so sad. My shoulders started to hurt. Now, was I, like, you know, a raving mental person? No, I wasn't. I was able to function quite well, maybe. I don't know, right? But it's really interesting. I think for me, self-awareness is the key to all of that. And just the more you get to know those patterns and the things that your body starts to do, how can you start to take care of it? Now, I know in lockdown we can't go and get a massage, but physical movement and those stretches and those kind of ways to take care of yourself, I think is the key for me, what I've actually found, because some reason that's the way my body takes the impact. And you're right, everybody's body takes it in a different way.
Yep.
So do you think, for real, Michelle, that we have some of us have PTSD from the last time, asking for a friend?
Definitely. Not a doubt about that at all in my mind. Yeah. Sure. And I think that, you know, Sash, you just said that, you know, when they said that we're going into lockdown again, so many people had that same response. It was just like, you know, horror. How we can't do this again. We can't do this again.
And because it's actually so fresh in our minds. And we're
Totally.
we were just talking off air about homeschooling, and we are seriously stressed. And I would say that Sasha and I are very aware of our, mental health, and, we are very lucky that we haven't had significant bouts of, anxiety or anything like that in our life, situational for different, stressful circumstances in life. But where I felt anxious as soon as they said that, I was like, that was honestly the hardest thing that I think I've ever had to do, was to homeschool those two children.
Absolutely.
And be effective with it as well. I was like,
that's
I was
right.
so set on, I don't want these kids to fall behind. I don't want them to have, that was really something that was, quite stressful for me. And I think for a lot of other parents as well. And luckily, I had sort of sporadic work during the lockdowns. I can't imagine what it would be like for somebody who's trying to work full time at home and then also homeschool young children like that. That's actually ridiculous.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How do we look after ourselves through this time? Because we are going to be, it seems like we'll perhaps be living in a world where we have snap lockdowns every now and then. So we're going to have to get used to this kind of situation. So how do we look after ourselves?
Apart from being aware, that's the first thing. I mean, people generally avoid negative emotions, and they use all sorts of things that. So allow what's there, allow space for it from a space of compassion, like I said before. And look, we need people. That's the bottom line. As human beings, we need people. So staying connected is by far the most important thing that we can do for ourselves. And making sure that we choose positive connections. We don't want to get onto these online things where it's all negative. We want to choose really positive connections with family, friends, or whatever it is. So that's my first, I guess, my first most important thing.
Now, Michelle, can I just interrupt you on that? I think 100%. What you've just said, staying connected with the right people. Okay.
Yeah.
So there has been times where, and it's hard to kind of admit this, and Sonia and I had a conversation. You'd get a phone call from somebody that you didn't have that, like I can't feel like I can open up to them, and I can't feel like I can be myself to them. I'd find myself taking 3 or 4 days to return their call.
Sure.
Right? Because the thought of making that call and hearing that or the jumping in my head and all of that sort of stuff was just like, I don't have any extra space in my head to be able to take that. Yet somebody that I'd go, I'm excited. Like, you've called me. I know when I call you back, I'm going to feel good.
Yes,
so
good energy.
That I think it's about being aware who you're staying connected with as well. Bring those people that make you feel good. Bring it. If you have to have those conversations on a daily basis, and if you've got that person in your life that's calling you to go and judge, or how are you doing this and what are you doing with that, or just to say, well, we don't need to call those people back.
No, you're going to give yourself self-care. Self-care is by far the most important thing that you can be doing right now.
Yeah. I was feeling guilty that I wasn't returning the calls of these people. And
you've got to allow yourself.
Didn't get me to call you back after 3 days.
Now you know who you are.
Now you know who you are.
If you didn't get a call back for 3 days, you're on the list, babe.
And again, that's another thing that I didn't notice about myself. It was just like, I've got to put the clothes on the line. Can't ring you back now. I've got to do this. Can't do that now. That was my body telling me.
That's right.
More negativity in my life.
No, and you've got to listen to that. Like, I think we cope better with those people when we're sort of busy. We might call them just before school pickup or something and say, oh, look, I've got a few minutes. What's happening? How are you? Blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, look, the kids are just getting in the car or whatever. So I think in lockdown, you have to be able to say that I can't do that. That's my limit. That's what I can do and what I can't do. And if it means that you can't have those negative connections, then that's okay. You give yourself permission. It doesn't matter who you disappoint. You've got to look after yourself.
This is all about looking after ourselves. So what else can we do, Michelle? So you were saying be aware and then stay connected. What else do you think?
So immerse yourself in things that you love. That how often do we get a chance to actually do the things that we really, really love? I mean, often, for busy women like ourselves who are working and raising families, we don't have the luxury all the time to do things that perhaps, that we would like to do, whether it's art or whether it's watching Netflix all day or, you know, cleaning out cupboards. Not that you love that, but there is something therapeutic about that, I found out yesterday. You know, just the things that, immerse yourself in something that's going to make you feel good. And that takes all of your energy. I think that's another thing. It's like, I don't want to, I honor what I'm feeling, and I allow the space for that, but now I'm going to shift into a different mode. So yeah, that's
stay
important.
there. Don't stay there. Honor where you are. Allow yourself to feel it, but don't live there.
And it will pass. Yeah, it passes. You pass through it. And you know, I think, Sash, you were saying earlier, getting physical. I mean, that's so important as well during this time. You know, getting outside, walking, doing things. And if you can do that with a neighbour or a friend that lives nearby, even better. Because that's, you know, you got the connection and the physical exercise going on there as well. And it does de-stress you. When you get out of the house, when you're in lockdown, just getting out of the house, you know, there's something, there's some sort of relief around that.
Big day out was a trip to Woolies. A little extra time in the aisles.
Totally.
All right, so just quickly before we go, what about our children? Or how do we make sure that they're coping okay?
Well, if you think about our children, and especially teens, you know, developmentally, it's such an important time for relationship development, peer connection. You know, they might have romantic relationships that are, you know, starting. So the fact that they can't see their friends, it does have a very negative impact. So I think as parents, what we need to do is talk with them about what's going on, communicate as much as possible without being too in their face. So, you know, in a kind of relaxed way, check in and, you know, allow them the space without judgment, be able to express what it is that they feel. One of the things that I've noticed with teens going back into lockdown already is that they're worried that things are never going to get back to normal. Like, if you think about them, they're living through a pandemic. We would, like, to us, I think for our generation, it's almost like you think about a movie, this would be in a movie. It doesn't feel like it was ever going to be a reality. You know, if someone told you this was happening in 2019, you go, what are you talking about?
Nuts.
But the fact that our teens are living through, you know, this, I think that it makes them feel like that things are, here we are again in lockdown. Is everything ever going to get back to normal? So giving them reassurance, nothing lasts forever. Nothing's permanent. So giving them lots of reassurance, letting them know that we're going to do this together, that it's going to be okay. Creating a home environment that's relaxed. That's hard when we're homeschooling. Yep.
How do we do that? How do we do it?
That's a whole other show, Sash. Whole other show. It's an hour special.
By managing our own anxiety, right? We have to manage our own anxiety. When we manage our own anxiety,
we need to go for walks. We need to take care of it. So in order for, like, you know, in order for my family to function right, I need to do my stretches to make sure that my shoulders are. I need to make sure I go for my walks. I need to make sure that I chat with my friends. So that when I come in the house and they start skateboarding around the house because they have nowhere else to do, I don't go off my head. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. You're number one is what I'm saying. When you're good, everything else runs well in the family. That's what I find with my household. If I'm not good and the tension's up and the anxiety's up, you know, just having a bad day in lockdown, then it kind of filters down. So you have to make sure that you're looked after, and then you can help them manage their levels of anxiety, whatever emotions are coming up for them in lockdown, and encouraging them also to stay connected. The things that we spoke about that are important for us to do, encouraging them to do things that help them stay connected. Maybe even doing things together, starting a new Netflix series together. Heaven forbid, playing an Xbox game with your teenage son. Like, you know, I'm warning you now. You're going to get
Sonya. I'm like this.
Well, do you know why? Because those other two lockdowns, that was the way he was communicating. My eldest son, that's the way he was hanging out with his mates. And so I was like, go for it, buddy.
Oh,
that's your social interaction right now. So, you know, if you want, like, I've always been one iPad for each eyeball. Like, I'm a full technology chick.
We bought our kids a second iPad just to gaffer and tape it so they walk around like this.
What do you mean too much? What do you mean too much screen time? Amateurs. Now,
Whatever gets you through right now, right?
Right,
So-
and that is, I love that you've said that. You are a professional woman psychologist who knows exactly what you're talking about, and you just say whatever gets you through, and it really is. I mean, we're in a pandemic. I said to everybody, we need to add that to your resume. You survived a pandemic. You still survived a pandemic.
Exactly.
And so I think everyone should give themselves a big trophy and $1 billion. So
Agreed.
thank you so much for all of that advice.
Oh, I
it's
love
just
you guys. It's so
important.
nice to talk with you. Pleasure.
We
Yeah.
adore you. And how do we get
Thank
in
you.
contact with you, Michelle? How do we get some more information, website and Insta?
Yep. You can look me up on Instagram. So it's Michelle Mind at Ease, and you can find me there.
Yeah, amazing. All right, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
today.
so
You're
Pleasure,
brilliant.
ladies. Take care.
I feel less stress in my shoulders already, Sash. How about you? Maybe you're loosened, loving it. Yeah. All right. You're listening to BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. This is the Sonya and Sacha for Real Show. We'll see you soon.
Sonya and Sasha, for real.
You're listening to BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. This is the Sonya and Sasha for Real Show, and we have another special guest, Sasha. We've got a very busy day today, our first show back for the year. Very exciting. We need to know how to make sure that our little people are okay going to school, and maybe not going to school, maybe going to homeschool, that word that we should want to strike out of the dictionary forever and ever. Tell us about our guests.
We've got little people, so we actually need help. This is like a therapy session really for us, because we've got grade 2s that have not been to school since 2019. It feels like that anyway, right? But we have the most incredible person that's right here, which is Leonie Tamblin. She is the Director of Guiding Transition, and she's going to teach us all about how we can effectively, I like this word, effectively, teach our kids this particular week or for the rest of the year on homeschooling. Hey, Leonie, thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, Sonya. How are you?
Oh, we are in desperate need of your advice, because we have gone into PTSD about having to do homeschooling again, and we need you.
Let's go if I can help. Right.
So let's start with the basics. How do we not kill our kids?
I guess there's a little bit of this where we have to say we need to be open and transparent with our kids about how we're feeling. So just as you would have perhaps on Friday night when they got home from school explained to them that we're going back into lockdown, I think it's worth them hearing you say, I'm disappointed we have to do this again. I much prefer it when I can go to work and you can go to school, but we don't have any choice. I'd prefer not to do it, you'd prefer not to do it, but we don't have any choice. So let's remember the things that worked well last time, and perhaps have some open discussion about, remember when we used to do this? Remember when we used to do that and that didn't work and we all argued, so we're not going to do any more of that this time. We're going to just have a quick drill of what went well last time. And then just reminding them, pardon?
Great idea. Focus on the positives, because we all instantly went into negative.
Exactly. But let them know you're feeling a bit negative too, because everybody is.
Yeah.
You know, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, nobody wants to do this, but we don't have any choice. So let's just get on with it and do it. And then I think it's really important to remind them of those routines and letting them know that the routines aren't just happening at home. They were the same routines that happened when they went back to school. Like the teacher said, this is what we have to do at the beginning of the day, and this is when we have a break. And reminding them that we'll have to do those sorts of routines at home, and getting the children to be part of that routine making. I mean, I know that if I was doing it, there's kind of no way I'd be starting it at 8 o'clock in the morning unless the school had a thing where you had to sort of zoom in. And I know some schools do that, but I can't really even imagine they're ready to do that with such a short notice for this lockdown. But if they are, I guess you do it. But I guess my point is that you're saying we won't be eating breakfast whilst we're doing our work. We eat breakfast, then we stop, because then we're going to start some schooling. And just keeping those routines going, you know, when we're allowed to have a break, that's what we do. We go outside if we're lucky enough that, you know, we've got space in our homes to do it, or that's when we are perhaps allowed to have a little bit of time on screens, etc. But we're really making a distinction between when it's learning time and when it's rest and relaxation time. I think that's just reminding kids that's what it's about, even with little ones. You know, No, we can't have the TV on. No, that's just a non-negotiable. It's reminding them of what they can, and really the best way we can set up productive learning. I think that's probably really important.
So, Leonie, what happens if your child is really against that? So, let's say they say no TV on, and they're like, no, or no iPad during this particular session. They really start to go back because they're almost like they're resisting it as well.
Okay.
How would you best handle that? Because I think that's probably going to go in my house. What about you, Sonia?
Oh, no, what do you mean? My children, they're robots. They sit down, they listen, they speak when they're spoken to.
Oh, wonderful.
They just get all their work done. They smile constantly. We're in joy over here, joy.
I think I'd be letting them know, okay, they're the choices you're making, so that you don't end up in those arguments. I think it's just saying, okay, they're the choices you're making. But do you understand, I've got a job to do where if tomorrow, in the Zoom meeting, your teacher says, where's, Susie's work, we'll just have to say, look, Susie just made a choice yesterday not to be involved in home learning. And then you're sort of throwing the discussion back where it becomes the teacher's relationship and the students, not so much where you're getting caught in the middle of it. It's a bit like homework, really, isn't it? When they hand in their homework, if they haven't done it, they're the ones that have to deal with the teacher, not you. And I would sort of keep that going a little bit at home, because if we get to 3 or 4 days where they haven't done anything, obviously you're going to have a private conversation with the teacher to say, this is really challenging and I'm going to need some strategies to help me through it. Yeah.
Sorry, Leonie, get going.
Yeah. I think avoiding the arguing. I mean, once you get into an argument, the learning stops. Learning will stop for an hour or so, because then you've got to kind of fix your relationship before the mind is going to be open to doing anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, we had lots of discussions with parents that did homeschooling last time, and a lot of them just said, we just didn't do it. We just threw up our hands and said, that's it. We just can't do this. It was unworkable. Everyone was stressed out. And because we've got to keep in mind too that these little young brains are soaking in the information that's going around whenever they wheel out Dan the Man to give us the latest update. These little brains are taking in that information as well. And so everybody was super stressed. Will our kids be okay? Will they be able to catch up? Will they be resilient enough to be able to bounce back and get the information that they need to be at the right level?
I honestly believe they will, because I think that even though you feel like your child is coping so badly, everybody's children have found this challenging. And so schools are prepared for that. They have absolutely understood that everyone's going to be a little bit behind. So I know that some of my colleagues, in planning for the school year this year, everyone knew they couldn't just drag out last year or the year before's curriculum and go, bang, this is what we usually introduce in February, March, April. Everybody knew that assessment data they were gathering at the beginning was going to really inform their teaching and work out where everyone's starting points were. Yeah. And I think everyone realised that the importance of play and kids reconnecting was just paramount. I heard such beautiful stories of teachers talking about the joy they felt in children after about day 2 of returning to school, because they could almost feel them relax as they got outside and played with their friends, and they remembered the happy place that was inside them that school usually produces. So especially this time round, I just think that what we've all learned is that we can't stress about this homeschooling thing too much, that schools will reconnect our children back into, best practice in learning, which is, I think, in a school, not at home, personally.
And do you know what?
Beautiful.
Kids that didn't like school can't wait to get back to school. I think that just shows how they don't actually, like us less. Like they're like, for now the teacher's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know, Leonie, one thing that you just said to me that just struck out and made me calm was when you just said everybody's feeling that, because for one of the things that I actually felt was when my child was doing the online learning and the teacher would say, would ask a question, let's say, what's 5 plus 5? And then every kid would be like 10, 10, 10. And I was thinking, my kid's like this. Well, you know, like, well, I don't know, you know, what's 5, you know, is that one hand, 2, you know, all of that sort of stuff. And then I thought to myself, how can my child not know it? Everybody else in the class did. And then what I found out later was all the other parents were like in the background going, it's 10, it's 10, it's 10, you know, because they were also, and then what happened was, as I kind of got to know this, I was maybe not doing the it's 10. So I was thinking, no, everybody else in the kid knows that everybody else's child in the class knows that the answer is 10 except for mine. And so my child is actually not learning, but they were just giving them that information. And I think it just made me feel like I was just doing a not a good job, because how can my child not know it? And how come all the other kids know it? And, you know, we're not people genuinely that really care about what other people think. You know, I'm really big on you ride your own race, but this is like in your face 24 hours a day, and you go to bed going, oh, I've been such a bad parent. I yelled so much. The kids didn't eat properly. You know, I'm literally at the point where, like, if you want to have a packet of Tim Tams for dinner, go right ahead. I actually know one mum that got so tired. And what she did was, she was so exhausted that what she did, she opened up a packet of the Coles minced beef and put the fry pan on, put a bit of oil, opened it and went, put that on there and just fried it up in its square format. Right?
And served it to the kids like that.
Cut it in half and served it like that. Anyway, they loved it.
Oh my gosh.
And she told them they were having one big hamburger each. Anyway, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. And I literally went, okay, I haven't done that, but that it just shows your level of desperation when you go, that's dinner. I can't even bother mixing it up. I'm just going to fry it from the. We're lucky she took the plastic off. But, you know, but I guess that's what it. So when I hear these stories, in my mind, I go, wow, we're all experiencing that.
Everybody's
same sort of thing.
experiencing it. Yeah. Everybody is experiencing it. And the other thing is too, the teachers are experiencing it too.
Yeah.
They don't like it. It's so much work. It's really hard. So it was beautiful to hear the teachers being glad to be back at school too, because we don't normally teach where we have great big collective groups of children at a time. The best teaching occurs when you're having those one-on-one conversations or you're working in small groups, not when you've got sort of 30 little heads on a screen. That's not best practice. So we just have to accept that this is not the ideal. We have to look at, already they've started to show some of the data saying that kids there wasn't this great regression that everyone was expecting. They continued to learn something, and they will continue to learn, providing we're just keeping things positive and upbeat. And let's face it, for the little children you're talking about, if we can remember that most important thing, that as long as we're reading to them every day, so that we're enriching their oral language.
I'm trying my best.
But, you know, if we're reading to them every day, enriching their sort of oral language as much as we can, having the conversations, going for a walk, looking around you in the world, for me, that's what's important in the next few weeks. I can't see this going on for months again, but in the next few weeks, that's what's important. It's, you know, just keeping homeschooling in perspective, I guess, is the most important thing.
Such good advice, Leonie. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I have a person who helps me with the home reading, and that's called YouTube. So everyone should get onto that. That's my recommendation. Leonie Tamblin for Guiding Transition. You are a superstar. You've made us feel a lot more sane as mothers and homeschooling teachers. Thank you for today.
Okay, all the best for the coming year. Right.
How can people have a look at your information?
Okay, anyone can contact me at leonie@guidingtransition.com.au, and I'm happy to help anyone who thinks I can be of use to their family.
Wow, you are incredible. Thank you so much for being with us today.
All right, all the best. Bye.
Leonie Tamblin from Guiding Transition. You're on the Sonya and Sacha For Real show, BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. We'll see you after the break.
Sonia and Sasha, for real.
You're listening to BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. This is the Sonia and Sasha for Real show. And today we are talking to one of our mates who's just the best guy. He's a really good friend of ours. And he's got quite a resume. Can I tell you all about this young man, Sasha? He is currently
Young
the
man, I like that. He's going to love young man.
He's going to love it. And he's turned up in a suit and tie today, so I don't even understand what's going on, but it's beautiful. He's currently the Year 7 coordinator of Gilson College, taking care of English, Maths, PE and sport. He's been a teacher for 25 years. He's a coach. He is a mate of ours. He is a budding politician. He's a Uber driver occasionally, and he also is the creator of Footies for All, which is a charity that takes care of underprivileged young people around the world, getting them sporting equipment, and we are very proud ambassadors of that very organisation. Could everyone please go crazy for Mr. Michael Gallas?
Hey, sir. Hey, sir. Sir, can you help me? Sir, I need some help. Do you want to come to my
There's only so much I can. It's only so much I can do, Sash.
Do some homeschooling with us, Michael.
Yeah.
Michael, you are with teenagers every single day, day in, day out, okay? And we need some help here because we are doing some homeschooling yet again. And so we need some advice. Firstly, how are we going to be able to cope? How are we going to be able to cope? How are we even going to be able to teach these kids? What if they fall behind? What if we're really crap teachers? Michael, the questions are...
What do you mean, what if? What if we're really crap teachers? We already are. We are.
We are crap teachers. Michael, we need your help. Help us, please.
Yeah, and well, that's the operative word, is that how are we going to teach these kids? You're not. You're parents. So you really can't be too hard on yourselves. You really got to look that... you got to do the best you can. And if it's not working, seriously, take them for a walk around the block, go and jump on the trampoline with them, shoot some hoops. You really got to assess what level of authority really you've got over the kids. And being a secondary school teacher, Year 7, you've got to, it should be the independence of them coming to the fore at this stage, and you working with them to really set an hour by hour timetable and set the ground rules with them about what they're going to do, and really give them the trust to sit down and do it. I know it's a hard thing for parents to do, but that's the best advice I can give, is to work with them to set a routine, set a timetable, make sure the fridge is full too. They love to eat, especially when they're home at home schooling. And if they've got a full tummy and plenty of liquids on ready to go, then that's the best chance for them to learn. So really work with them hour by hour, set some rules. See, do they want to be in their school uniform, their sport uniform? What are the rules from the school? Or do they want to be there in their casual clothes? Get them dressed is probably a good idea. It's not the best look in their pajamas or their onesies. So if you can actually get them to get dressed and out of bed and their sleeping bags, make sure they're not doing their Zoom calls in the bed. And maybe have a shower would be a good thing too. But if you can't get those things to happen, you just got to do the best you can, and just seriously don't be too hard on yourselves.
Oh, Michael, I love that.
Made us feel a
it's
whole lot
okay.
better.
I know. So really, the one thing that I took there is feed them. So if I'm making chocolate brownies by 9 a.m. and they're really all for me, we're doing really well then.
Yeah, that's for sure. And bribery works too. You got to do whatever you can. We're so thankful it's only a 3-day lockdown, and hopefully they're all coming back to see me and every other teacher and coordinator on Thursday, and keep praying for that as well. But really, if you want to bribe them with screen time or holidays to Queensland, do whatever you can.
We're bribing ourselves for holidays to Queensland. We can't even go 5Ks, Michael, let alone, I don't think I can even come to your house, right, let alone Queensland.
No, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. And you know what, while Sasha's taking care of the brownies, I'll have plenty of liquids on hand, as you said, plenty of liquids. That's for mama under the table. Because I'm telling you, if it was anything like last time, no, actually I won't, but I'm telling you, if it was anything like last time, I know a lot of people who made Dan Murphy their friend over that time. You know, it was so stressful, and we're mostly worried that we're just doing the wrong thing and that they're going to fall behind and that we're damaging them, you know, their future prospects and things like that. Please tell us that it'll be okay, MG.
No, it will be. Yeah, it certainly will be. And going back to Dan Murphy, it's really important for parents and caregivers to de-stress themselves and to use whatever works for them as well. You know, yoga, going for a walk, having a sleep, getting a punching bag, yelling at the husband, yelling at the wife, to really use whatever. And that was a joke, of course, just a joke there in relation to that. Be very supportive of your other half, because you need a team effort, and you've got to really be careful and be aware of what works for you to stay relaxed as well, and especially at the end of the day or even by recess. That if you need to get out of the house and go for a walk, and you're throwing your hands up and you've given into the screen time and let them on Netflix or PlayStation, just let them do that, because hopefully, as I said, for 3 days, they're not going to fall behind in 3 days. And hopefully we're all back to school on Thursday. So really, if it's not working, fine, throw up your hands, go and do your own work. That's the other thing. Parents have to be, most parents at this stage will be working from home, those that can. So if you're not getting a response and respect from your children, then say, all right, okay, you're old enough, you're in secondary school, you've set the routine, you've set the timetable. I'll check in at the end of the day, and I'll also, here's a good one too, I'm going to ring the school and I'm going to email your teachers at the end of each session or the end of each day and find out how you're going. So hold the kids accountable in that regard too, because we do the same at school. If they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, we're on the phone to the parents or emailing the parents as well. And if we can get that team effort and that three-way partnership going, that's the best chance we've got to for the kids to succeed, both at school and at home.
Do you know, it's really funny because it's almost like and Sonia, you will completely understand this. In our minds, we had our work schedule, and then we also had their schedule. So we were like going, Thursday's an assignment due, Wednesday we've got a test, We're keeping this sound in mind. And I've literally just got an email saying that my son's got a music lesson this week and that he has to attend. And so I've literally written in my diary, he's got a music lesson at this particular time, and he'll, they're letting him know if it's a Zoom or if it's this and the other. Now, normally I would not know when the music lesson is, right? So I wouldn't have any. So already in my mind, I'm going, one kid's got a music lesson on Tuesday, one kid's got a music lesson on Monday, whereas I wouldn't know all of that information because they just deal with it at school. So it's like, not only do I have to remember my own stuff that I'm doing, but we're also in there, and the emails are just coming in thick and fast from the school. Like, I've got to remember this, I've got to remember, like, is it not on my plate enough?
And you haven't
am
even
I the only parent that's stressed over this?
I'm telling you, it's PTSD from last time. We were in the trenches, Michael. Wasn't good. Was not good. I'm telling you. No. And then I think we were the only two parents that we kind of had spoken to that their kids actually did some work, like that, because they're shifty, they're up in their room going, yeah, we're working away, doing it on the computer, and they're playing bloody computer games, and then the teachers are calling them, families going, your kid's done nothing, what are you doing? What's going on over there? It's shambles.
I've been doing my job. That's what's been going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we nearly lost our minds as a result of it, but that's all right. It's all right. So you're telling us that they'll be okay and just do the best that we possibly can, go for a walk and chill out a little bit about it, you're saying?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. And try and get the kids out of the house at some stage during the day, either recess or lunchtime. Even them, if they have a break from their online things, they really need to have a break from their house and the environment. And even though most of them don't want to, even just to walk to the back fence and back, or walk to the letterbox and back inside, get them out of the house, get them walking. Cooking's a great one. They love eating. So, well, okay, instead of us doing all the work, you can cook, okay? Go and get the ingredients, go and get the recipe and do the cooking. And most importantly, because my kids haven't worked out how to do it, do the cleaning. Get them to do the cleaning, because then we've got all these dishes we got to do, as well as teaching them, working and feeding them. Just does your head in, doesn't it, ladies?
Do you know what I think we've forgotten?
Professional toast cleaner upper of crumbs. Like, I was literally just spending my day picking up toast crumbs from one end of the house to another. But
do you know what I reckon we've forgotten? Do you know what we've forgotten, guys? I think we've forgotten that this is a pandemic, that we're in completely global, craziness at the moment. And because we've sort of done it for a year, we're kind of going, oh, okay, so we'll just get on with it. No, we're in a bloody altered state. This is a crazy situation to be in. And this, because people have sort of, jogged on a little bit, doesn't mean that we shouldn't pay sort of credence to the fact that this is a very unusual circumstance that we're in, and it's really, really stressful, and our kids don't like it either. So yeah, make the brownies and get out there and have a bit of a walk. And if it doesn't work that day, then be one of those people that throws your hands up and says, well, it didn't work today, let's give it another go tomorrow, sort of thing. So I love that advice, MG. Thank you so much for being our voice of reason. I think you've calmed us down for this 5 minutes. Anyway, we'll see. We'll let you know how we go after the first day.
If you hear us yelling and swearing, don't call DHS.
Keep moving. Nothing to see here. Nothing going on.
Yeah, nothing going on.
Yeah, be very kind to yourselves as parents. Remember our role. I'm a parent as well as a parent. You're not teachers, you're not educators. But also, just one other note too, please be kind to the teachers, please be kind to the educators, because all weekend, this weekend, and probably a lot of tonight, they'll be up organising lessons and putting things online and answering, as you said, and answering and sending emails ad nauseum. So please be kind to the teachers, and especially Thursday, we're all back to school. Parents are happy. Teachers have had to then adjust from online learning to face-to-face learning and readjust. You just said, Sash, your son was going to camp. I was about to take 140 kids to Howcler and Eildon on Wednesday, so everything has to be rechanged and rejigged. And be kind to teachers. And the other thing, we got through last year, didn't we, ladies? And we're still here. We're a bit damaged, but we're still here, and that's Winston Churchill said, when you're going through hell, just keep going. And that's the advice. Don't give up. Take it one day at a time. We'll make it. And one day, I'm looking forward to that day, ladies, where we all sit down and laugh about all of this.
Oh, same. So
well, we did laugh, but we were mental. We were mental when we did laugh. Like, was slightly coping with that. Thank you so much, Michael.
Brilliant, Michael.
It's an absolute pleasure. You've really relaxed us and made us feel better about homeschooling.
You're a great man. You're a great man and a great teacher. And you're right about our teachers. We had respect for them before, but it's tripled after what we've seen them do over this time. So good for you. Good on you. Thanks for being a good guy in our world. Mr. Michael Gallis, super teacher, super person, super friend of ours.
Superhero.
Making us feel a whole lot better. He's like a warm cup of tea, Michael Gallis. Just calms us down, keeps us feeling better. You're listening to the Sonia and Sacha For Real show. This is BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. And thank you so much for listening to our first show back. We are so excited to be back with you all. And stay tuned. We've got some amazing guests coming up in the next few weeks. And we'll see you soon. Have a great day, everyone.
Sonia and Sacha, For Real.